Okay. Hello. All right. All right, it's 5:30 p.m. We'll go ahead and start the Norfolk Parks Board meeting agenda. First call to order. I'd like to call this meeting to order. My name is Jarrett Mills. I'd like to inform the public about the location of the Open Meetings Act posted in the council chambers and accessible to members of the public. First, I'd like to take a roll call. We'll start with anybody here on my left, Mr. Rasmussen.
Terry Rasmussen. I work at Nucor Steel, out at the steel mill. Guess that's about it.
Austin Truex, I'm the director of the Norfolk Public Schools Foundation, and I'm Encrypt Escape Rooms owner.
Jarrett Mills, athletic director, Northeast Community College.
Becky Wolf, and I'm a retired teacher.
Andover, and I have a real estate company and land development and building.
I'm an educator with Temple Educational Services, and I'm involved with the Natural Resource District as well.
My name is Patrick Gerhardt. I'm with Telecoin here in Norfolk.
If you don't mind, I'll have our staff introduce themselves.
We'll welcome the City Park staff with us as well.
I'm Mike Lisey, and I'm the park supervisor, and we're based out of 1102 South 8th.
Ryan Bede, I'm the acting supervisor out of Taha.
And Nate Powell, Parks and Rec Director, and we have the Administrative Assistant Jen Olson back there on the cameras.
Perfect. I would look for a motion to approve the full agenda for tonight.
I'll make that motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Perfect. We had a first and a second to move the approval of the full agenda. And next, I'd look for a motion for election of officers.
So what we're needing for this, you'll approve the bylaws next, which has a president, a vice president, and a secretary. That gives us the order if those individuals are not here, who would be leading those meetings.
Perfect.
And so you may elect individuals that are not here. That's up to you.
Okay. So we'll go to bylaws first. Look for an first motion to approve the Parks and Recreation Board bylaws.
Let me run through that, if that's all right.
You bet.
Okay.
You want me to read them, Nate?
What's that?
You want me to read them?
Do you want to read the whole bylaws, or you want me to just point out the highlights there?
Whatever's easiest for you.
All right. So you can read those as you go through. I'll start off with the terms, kind of the important parts, I guess. This will be a term for 3 years. They shall be staggered to ensure that the extent possible, the terms proportionally equal number of members shall expire annually. No person shall serve more than 2 successive terms without at least 1 year intervening, unless the city council shall waive such requirement. A person to fill an unexpired term may be appointed successfully for 2 years. So if you are a 2-year or a 1-year member, you could theoretically be on for 2 terms after your 2 years and 1 year are up. Okay, duties of the board, to adopt the bylaws, approve the annual capital improvement requests to council. So we'll review our capital requests and prioritize those for our budget. We'll meet once a month, and we'll also improve the annual report to city council. Okay. The officers of the board would be the president, vice president, and secretary. This will be 1-year terms. The meetings are stated here. And then do you guys have any other questions? The only thing that I see here that I'd like to add under the duties, is there anything that you would see that you want to add there? So what we're doing each week, each month is we'll be bringing various items to the board to approve to move on to council. We'll have a list of things. It could be as small as, well, let's say a design for one of our facilities or one of our playgrounds. That would be something that I'd bring to get approval from the board before we send it off to council. So.
Nate, would it be possible to have some type of board tour of different parks throughout the city at different times?
Absolutely, we would love to set that up. Yep.
Anybody else?
Are there any other functions of the secretary or president that are specific to this board?
I remember reading it, but I'm just making sure what I read is in there versus not in there. So I'm just going to run through it real quick.
Okay.
So the secretary does notify each, does a notification of each meeting down in section 3. The vice president does serve in the president's absence in these bylaws. I don't think there's any other specific items, but the secretary would be, if the vice president and president was here, it'd be the secretary, would be the third. Any questions, concerns, or anything you would like to add or subtract? Okay. So we'd be seeking a motion to approve the bylaws as written.
Make a motion to approve bylaws.
We will remove the draft statement at the top.
All right, we got a motion and a second to approve the Parks and Rec Board bylaws. The next, Nate, you want to move to elections?
Can you have everyone vote on it? Did you have everyone vote on it? I didn't see it.
Oh yeah, should we get a vote? Are we? Oh, we're not able. Okay,
Not yet. Just yays or
just a yea or nay?
Yep.
Yay.
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 Vote carries. 7-0.
So that would put us into the election of officers.
And
So
you would just open floor or what?
Nominate? Yeah, we're looking for a nomination, and then
Okay. Start with, should we start with secretary first? And work our way
that
up?
would be good.
Okay. Looking for a nomination for the Norfolk Parks Board Secretary. I'll nominate Mrs. Dover. Okay. Well, yeah, I think you can probably, not.
The secretary would be the third in line to serve as, to run the meeting. And also, it's just to inform of meeting times in the bylaws. Notification of each meeting shall be made to each member by the secretary of the board. It'd be good to.
Does she have to take notes?
No, we are doing that. Yep.
Yeah, perfect. Vote?
Yep. So you'll need a motion to.
All right, I'll have a motion, looking for a motion for Andover to serve as Secretary of the Norfolk Parks Recreation Board. Second. And vote? Yay? All right, I'll be seeking a nomination for Vice President of the Norfolk Parks Recreation Board. I'll nominate Mrs. Temple. I'm looking for a motion and a second.
I'll second.
First and a second, and vote, please.
Yay.
All right, vote carries. And be looking for a nomination for President of the Norfolk Parks and Recreation Board.
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Justin Mills for president of the board.
All right, thank you. Looking for a first, yes, looking for a motion, a first and second. You was first, sorry, yeah, second, my bad. And a vote, please.
Yay.
All right, motion carries. And the vote. So we'll just recap here real quick. Secretary of the Board, Andover, Vice President Melissa Temple, and President Jarrett Mills.
Very good. That moves us into our other business, so if you want to.
All right.
Yep.
Be looking for, we'll go ahead and do a motion and a second to move to other business to talk about supervisor reports and any open topics for this first board meeting.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Perfect, thank you. And with, we'll start with supervisor reports, Mr. Bede or Mr. Lysy.
What exact, you guys just what kind of report, what we're doing?
Yep, so Ryan Bede will be doing the sports complex report. I'll pull that up here on the screen.
Okay, right now, we're working on getting the bridge back open on, we're working on that last week. I think it's on, isn't it?
Up is on.
Yeah.
You want to bring it closer, a little closer for you?
Okay.
There you go.
Right now, we're trying to get the bridge back opened up at the Tahoe. Been working on that all week, when I get time. We are also working on doing some sprucing up around the dog park entrance. We're gonna be putting a dog watering station in and irrigating the south smaller dog park area. And as always, working on fields a lot right now. A lot of baseball, softball games still going on. Fertilizing the fields. Other projects, the campground's kind of spruced up. I don't know if anybody's been out there lately, but we've kind of been working on that, getting that finished up. All the other normal stuff that goes on in the park, trees. We're good. Next week, we get into trimming some of the trees along McKinley. They're kind of hanging over. I think some of the campers might be kind of clipping them a little bit, so we're going to try and get those all cleaned up. Working on the fountain. I don't know if anybody's noticed, the one fountain hasn't been working, and we'll have to talk about if we want to do work with that or not. I've got it pulled out, and we found out that the motor's shot. So
We are requesting that in our capital budget. I'll let you know here what my report is in a minute, but we did submit our budget for next year already. So
The large fountain on
not the large one.
or is it
no,
one
one
that's
of
too
the
small?
two on the
North side?
west side of the west branch of the lake there. We had the two fountains.
Okay, gotcha. On the yeah.
And one never turned on this year. We found out we had a short in, and we finally got it pulled last week, and that's what we found out.
So does that mean you have to wait until next year to get it fixed?
it'd be October.
This October?
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
and I don't know if we're replacing the fountains or if we're just getting it fixed. I've learned from working on these fountains in the past that the cost of working on the fountains is, we probably money ahead just to buy. They're 15 years old at least. They were there when I started with the city, and I've just noticed over the years they put a light kit on one is really expensive, and to replace a motor it's going to be, I haven't priced them, but it's going to be expensive. And it's probably going to take 2 or 3 months to get a motor in here. So by the time we do that, we might be just money ahead just to put new fountains in. And I've been talking to the rep, I know him personally, but talking to the rep that sold us the fountains, and the new ones are half the horsepower, and they supposedly are twice as high and a lot easier to maintain. So I don't know if we want to talk price or anything here tonight, but they're not particularly expensive. I mean, so.
Will the bridge be about the same construction, you think? Just
Yeah.
pretty close.
We don't plan on painting it this time. We plan on leaving it natural so that we don't have to paint it every 3 years. We're putting the railing on. I think the railing will be a little higher than what it was before. But other than that, it's all treated, green treated. I-beams are all replaced now. We just got some, it's not a perfectly straight project, so we got just some figuring of some things out to do yet. And, hopefully, I wanted to get it done by this weekend, but we just had too many other things going on, so hopefully next week for sure. And other than that, just taking care of the park. I mean, we got just a lot of things going on out top, so
Yeah.
any one time you can go out there in between the campers and the baseball and softball games, and there's always a lot going on out there. So
Go to
Excuse
parks.
You can see on the report, for the Parks report, what we have done so far this spring. What the big thing we're working on now is with the dry conditions, we're watering 40 hours a week on our new trees. And it says that we planted 26 trees, but that's been updated to 30 new trees this year. We installed the new drinking fountain at Liberty Bell, so it's there. And we're going to be taking out the old playground equipment probably the middle of July up at Liberty Bell, and that will make room for the new playground, the Kaboom, and I believe that's scheduled for the second week of August. We'll be doing a lot of trimming of the trees. Once next weekend comes with the big bang boom, it'll start slowing down so we can catch up on some of the projects, but it's a lot of projects going on. Like tonight, there's music in the park up at Skyview, and that'll be the next 2 Thursdays for 4 concerts. And then tomorrow night, Friday night, there's the River Point is having a concert series, and there's a couple more of that. We get barrels and get that ready for, the concert series down there. And like Brian said, just trying to keep up with the mowing, extra watering, because we're not getting no help out from Mother Nature. But
Sure. Have you fielded any requests about the maybe lower, the lowering in water at Skyview?
I can fill them in on that because I just approved that today. The pump is having some issues and some sediment that's getting into the pipes, and so we are hiring a firm. I don't have it in front of me, but there's a firm that's coming. I can't remember if it's from Kearney or they're going to come out and get that repaired for us. Right away. It takes about 2 weeks, I think, to get, there's a bowl assembly that they have to build. It takes about 2 more weeks to have that done. Once that's done, they'll come out. It takes about 2 days to do the clean outs, and then we'll hopefully get that water back up. So within the month.
That'd be great.
And I can add to that, in the spring and the fall, and sometimes in the summer, we call it a pig in the well that takes the sediment out of so the well is right across from West Side School on 18th Street. There's across the street, I don't know if anybody remembers where the ice rink was back in the day. It's right there, and that's where we shoot a pig in it. It looks like a big bullet, and you shut the well down, you put the pig in, put the cap back on, and then the water forces it out, and we fish it out where the water comes into Skyview. And that's right off of Prospect, down the hill there, just west of the dam.
Perfect. Thank you. I did actually have tree project written down on my notes, so I do appreciate your staff and work for 30 new trees. I think that's a big goal, and I think our correct me if I'm wrong, but our arbor group with the tree committee.
Yeah,
Do they work coincide with that project as
the
well?
tree board with
Tree board, yeah.
Which project?
Just the overall planting of the trees. Do they have oversight on that?
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. Thank you.
And I can give you the last 3 years, 2017 to 2020, we planted 272 trees. 2021, we planted 34 trees. 2022, we planted 72, and then so far this year, we're up to 30 trees. So we have an aggressive tree plan.
Mm-hmm.
What percentage of that is people planting trees in memoriam or dedication trees?
Excuse me?
What percentage of that would be people donating trees in memoriam or dedication?
Oh, for the most part, it wouldn't be a big number of that, because a lot of them are like the Briggs and Barrett project. I'd say that's a small minority. We get grants for like planting trees downtown and, a lot of new trees at Johnson's Park and such.
Probably like 10 trees.
How are the visiting numbers at the campground? Do you see an increase in those at all with the weather, the heat?
Right now, yeah, we're pretty much booked up on the weekends. I mean, with the online reservations, I was talking to the campground host just today, and I think she said she's pretty well filled up for the weekend. Softball tournaments, packed.
Right.
And you can count on that. We redid all that this spring. I don't know if anybody's been out there and been through the campground, but we basically made 5 tent sites, cordoned them off, organized it. I think we got 18 normal sites now. And yeah, she said they're pretty much packed through the weekends. So, and most of that's online. I think she said she had 2 sites open for tomorrow maybe, and that was it. The rest of the weekend they're booked online. No, just electrical. Yep. No, and we had talked about doing that at one point, but I mean, maybe somewhere down the road we get into that, but.
We still have it on our list of things to do.
And then just cabin rentals up too as well, you would say?
Yeah,
Pretty full.
cabin rentals pretty much, they kind of peak in May with all the graduations, and after that, it's birthday parties, and yeah, they're usually not so bad. We'll usually have 1 or 2 on the weekends, but it's not, for the month of May, it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all 4 cabins, somebody different every
Pretty full.
day. So then you gotta, have people cleaning them every morning, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it gets a lot easier this time of year when it comes to the cabins and stuff, but.
Sure. I only got 2 more things. Sorry, I promise. 2 more things. Memorial Field top dressing would be my next. Has that been?
Ryan can fill that in on that.
Okay.
Yeah, they've been doing about once a week. They've been going out there, and we've got a new field dresser or a top
Mm-hmm.
dresser now.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty smooth.
Nice.
And he's been dumping, I couldn't even tell you how many bucket loads of sand we've been dumping on it. But that's a long range, that's a long-term process. That's
Right.
not but yeah, every week we've been putting sand on it, so.
You can tell them about the new mower as well. How's that going?
Oh, yeah, and then we have I guess it's called a reel mower.
No, it's not a reel. It would be a rotary mower, but it's a fairway mower is what you call it.
There you go. Yeah, it works good. It's designed to make the grass look just a pattern in your grass.
Mm-hmm.
So we're mowing all of our fields with that. I don't know if we've mowed Memorial with it yet. We've been out at Taha mowing and getting used to the mower. So you should see some kind of improvement in your fields. I mean, I don't know how much you pay attention to mowing on the fields out there, but it's just supposed to give you a nice pattern in your grass. Some of the other fields at Taha that are a little older, there's a lot of work still could go into some of them fields, and we've talked about where we're going to go with that. And so we'll see where we end up going with those. But like 1, 2, and 3 are probably 50-year-old fields.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know where you go with that. I don't know if sand's going to be enough on that one, but
Mm-hmm.
so we'll see.
And then finally, just please thank your staff for bearing the heat and everything that they do throughout the summer. So certainly appreciate that. Thank you.
I did have a quick question about the disc golf baskets that were replaced at Skyview. What happened to the former baskets that were there?
So the former baskets, Mike, do you remember the name of the town?
They were sold to the town of Verdigris,
Verdigris, yeah.
and they came and got them, and, you know, instead of us having to haul them out, they got the baskets as is. So, you know, when we took some of them out, a few of them got bent a little bit, but I think I haven't been up there if they reused them. But.
Awesome. Just want to know where those ended up. Thanks.
Well, yeah, they didn't go to, you know, the scrap yard, so someone else is getting some use out of it, which is, I think, great.
I got 2 more reports here. Miss Evans is not here. She's on vacation this week. I will go ahead and go over the recreation report. She's the assistant director overseeing recreation. So if you look at that report, let me pull that up on. There's a list there of different programs and events and meetings that we have going on, the different tournaments, the football classic. We've got swim lessons and the number of participants, movie nights. The Briggs and Barrett, we're working with the Briggs and Barrett. They're donating a garden for Winter Park. It's a kind of a reflection garden that we're looking at in the design process. At some point, we'll bring that here to the board and approve a final design. One thing I do want to point out is our heater. We have 2 heaters at Aquaventure. One of those went out the week before we opened. So we're running 1 heater, and we had to do a bypass to swap it back and forth so we can heat both pools. We're not at 82 degrees. We're probably at 77, 78.
Oh, we're at 82 in the big pool.
Okay.
And then in the small pool, we only, I don't know if you need me on speaker.
Yes.
We only run it on the small pool maybe 3 or 4 hours a day. We get that up to about 78, and given on how hot it is outside and how cold it is at night. If it stays 70 at night, it's not too hard to keep the water at 78 or so. But haven't heard any complaints so far anyway. But then we switch it back to the big pool and keep that one heated because it's a lot more water, and we have swim team shows up at 6:30 in the morning every day, so we have to keep that one warmer.
Yeah.
But
The
hopefully,
big pool's awesome right now. I mean, it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, the wave pool's cold.
is it cold?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I always stick my hand in there every time I go down there, and
You
it,
should stick your stomach in there.
I'd like to because usually I'm working when I'm down there
Yeah.
and it's all hot. So,
So-
but, yeah, this week but I think they're going to show up Monday. I'm supposed to meet with them Monday, and we're supposed to talk about the plan to how we're going to swap them out, and hopefully, I don't know. 2 weeks from today,
We're
we should be done.
replacing 1 large heater with two smaller heaters that are a little bit more efficient. And we found those 2 heaters. We looked all over the country. They were able to find 2 replacements, and we did an emergency purchase, got those here. We've been working to find an installer. We've finally got 3 quotes in and secured that today. And we'll be, like I said, we'll be probably installing next week the heater and get both pools back up to temp.
Will you have to shut down?
No.
Good.
No, what we're gonna do is, the way it's piped right now, when this all happened with the other heater going down, we didn't do it ourselves. We had a contractor come and repipe from the 1 heater to both pools. We closed ball valves so we can heat both pools with the same heater. And so when the old heater right now is actually completely bypassed. It's not hooked into anything. So when they get here, they're gonna come, drag out the old one, scrap it. We'd have to pull the door off of the mechanical room, and we won't put it back on probably till they get both heaters in there, but not a big deal, but, and then I think we'll only have hopefully a couple hours of downtime when they actually hook the other heater back in line. And we have made it, I put in part of the bid that when we're done, we will be able to use either heater to heat either pool in the future. Because it was kind of an emergency deal when the one went down, and we were 2 weeks before the pool opened. So it was kind of an emergency deal because they were trying to do swim lesson or a swim team in that pool. They couldn't do it. So we came up with an idea of just repiping the water. So So that if this happens again in the future, we should be set up to where we can just throw a couple ball valves. It won't be an emergency then, it'll just be well, at the end of season, we'll have to fix that, something like that. But hopefully that's like 20 years down the road, and, you know, Mike and I won't be here anyway, so he'll be talking to somebody else.
All right, some other items here. The brochure we've got this year completed. We've got our rec van that goes out to our community, and that's what takes our supplies for the movie events and our camps and different things that we have going on in different communities. Again, we're doing the top dressing. We got the playground donation for Liberty Bell with Kaboom. We're working through that design right now. Yep. So the Premier Marketing and Integrity group, they donated a playground for Liberty Bell, and they hired Kaboom, which is they come into communities and build playgrounds for lower income neighborhoods, and so they were hired to come in and help out with this one in Liberty Bell. And we've been going through that process for a while now. They did a public process with the kids to come in and do some design elements, and we've completed that design. And right now I'm adding to it. We had some money budgeted for a playground at Liberty Bell, so we're going to add to it to make it a little bit bigger, but we'll have that final design here shortly. They're putting the 3D renderings for me together right now, and then we'll get that information out there. And we put this information out on our Facebook page, so you can follow us there, and that's where we keep people informed. I do need to point out also Aquaventure will be open from 11:30 to 6 on July 1st and July 4th. So there'll be adjusted hours. I'll go to my report. We're working on the master plan process. You all have, I don't know if everybody has visited with our pros consulting yet, but if you haven't, we'll get you connected to them. We finished the Warren Cook Story Walk Trail. We did the ribbon cutting. We put out the Greenleaf Award process for awarding those in our community that have a green landscape in their yard. Just the project outcomes here. Our budget is submitted for next year. That's internal. It'll be going to council very shortly, I think in next month or two. And council, I think, votes on that in late August, early September, somewhere in there. Sidewalk was completed along the Skyview parking lot. We finished curb and gutter and parking lot extension at Liberty Bell. The Storybook Trail, again, like I said, is completed. We just received our new mower for our sports fields. The APU replacement, which is the octopus that does not dump like it's supposed to. It's supposed to have a dump feature. It hasn't worked for many years, so you probably didn't know if you didn't know. We had to postpone that to pay for our heater replacement. We had $70,000 budgeted for a new dump bucket, but the heater is going to be $160,000 that we had to find funds for, and we were using the savings from our master plan grant and the dump bucket to pay for that. Skate park agreements approved. I do not have an install date, but it's supposed to be installed before October. That would be the pump track just south of the skate park. And we also completed the team locker agreement with Northeast Community College and Norfolk Public Schools. There will be you can look at the current projects. There's a list of things going on here. You're welcome to ask about any of those. We do have, for upcoming events in August, we will have a special Parks Board meeting on the 22nd where the master planners will present their findings from our surveys that are going to be coming out in the next couple weeks. And so that'll be on the 22nd. That'll be a Tuesday. we'll talk about that at our next meeting in July as well to make sure we get that scheduled. The 23rd, after that, the 23rd would have a public open house with also those findings to get their input as well. And then public requests, I will have this at the bottom each month, just letting you know what requests come in each month so you can hear what we have, this is just for this last month. There was a request that our bathrooms at Johnson Park be open later, and we've done that. It was closing at 8 and it should have closed at 10. So is that correct, Mike?
It's opening at 6:30 and closing at 10:30.
Okay, that's fine. Yep. So we are opening it late, keeping it open later. We had a request for mosquitoes at Tahoe. We're addressing those. And additional trash cans and benches in downtown. That's something we'll talk about with the downtown district.
How are those requests presented? Is there a public input section on your website or just emails to you?
These are just emails or requests that I hear. I've got 2 sitting on an email right now. Jen takes the phone calls for the standard line, which is 2250. 844-2250. That'll get you to Jen, and that's where a lot of the requests come from, is on that number. And so I put those on here just so if I hear things that are happening, multiple requests, we look for trends and look for things that people actually need. Yeah.
Are the mosquitoes just for at Tahoe, or are you going to do all of the parks?
So just this week also, which didn't make us, it happened after the report, but Skyview is also a request that we got in.
Skate parks.
Skate park too?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can get out there and get out in our parks and get that done. Yeah.
On the department report, you have the current project, Johnson Park. What more about, I guess, Johnson Park? I guess, can you give us an updated timeline and what else is out for bid?
Yep. So we just, the bid just closed for the grading, and we'll be awarding that at the next council meeting. In the meantime, I've still got to meet with Mike about it. We'll start tearing down the shelter frames. The picnic tables will be coming out, and the playgrounds will be coming out, and then they're going to start grading, doing all of our grading. On the 29th, the ice arena and the fountain will be closing. That bid will be closing on the 29th this month. We're hoping to have ice skating by this winter. That's the goal. And then all the other features in the park will just follow. The trails and the lighting, the irrigation, all those things are coming. So. Yep. This is a refrigerated system. We'll be able to start a refrigerated system in Sioux City. I talked with them on theirs, and they open theirs generally by the second week of December, and by the second week of March, they're probably done. But you can probably go from Thanksgiving through March, depending on weather. And that's, it'll be consistent. You'll have consistent ice.
Some times during the summer that the river would be flowing and would be usable. Is that figured out? Is that scheduled? What those dates would be?
Yep. So with the new surf feature that we changed, we made that adjustment where we had 8 features originally. We went down to 7 and combined 2 to create a wave for surfing. And so that's just delaying it a little bit. I haven't heard when we're going to turn it on and do our test. I haven't heard a date.
So you don't think they'll be on and then off for some work and on again?
They'll just be turning it on for testing.
Okay. So
Not for running.
Back to work until the whole thing's complete.
Until that's complete, and there's still discussion on when we can actually, because the park won't be done, but the river will be ready. So that's going to be tricky. I'm not sure how that's going to play out just yet.
Okay.
Yep. we'll keep you updated, and maybe I'll have Pat come out and give a report on that at the next meeting.
You got talking about life jackets. Is that a requirement for anybody that's down there, or is that just something if people want to?
It's not a requirement, but anytime you're dealing with the river and people that just may not know how to swim, you just don't know. We want to encourage them and have them available for the public to borrow, and we'll get sponsors for that each year is what we're looking for. And there isn't a requirement, but it's pretty standard in most of your rivers that have man-made features. If we didn't have the man-made features, we wouldn't provide them. But since we're creating an environment for them we want them to wear life vests. It'll be deep behind the features. It's pretty deep right there, and that water's turning. Over time, sediment will fill that in, and it won't be quite as deep, but at first I think it's going to be pretty significant. We want to make sure that people are safe. So we'll be putting information out about wearing your life vests and having helmets on, because there's rocks in the river now. So if you're going to fall, you could hit your head, and you also going to want a life vest on, especially if you hit your head and get knocked out. Don't expect any of that to happen, but you want to make sure you are educating the public.
Are you sure there are going to be rocks there? I haven't heard anything about that. But the landscaping, nature playground, wayfinding, and historical panel, are those all just like down the line, or are those like where are those that bullet point, those projects?
Yep, we're just now trying to secure that funding. We're very close, and we're trying to fund this with grants and as much as we can with grants, and so we're hoping to do that with those. I'm actually meeting with some landscape designers to get some quotes in the next couple of weeks to hopefully get that process going. Mm-hmm. And that would include the wheelhouse and getting that fixed up so it's usable. Any other questions?
Were you able to auction off all the items at Tahoe?
Do you guys know?
Parks didn't have a lot of things out there, so if you're asking about the parks portion of it, we only put a couple features out there, but we did get $900 for an old elephant slide, so we were all more than amazed by that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we were going to give it away, so. But no, we didn't. Parks didn't put a lot in there. Most of that was police confiscates, things that people didn't claim from the police, and bikes, and so. But it was all cleaned up the next day for the most part. So,
Yeah.
But like I said, we only had 2 things on there. So.
So in the future, I think I'd like the board to approve the reports when we're done with the reports.
I did have one thing. You talked about trash cans, and just thinking about, since we got music in the park this weekend, or today, those trash cans are pretty full after the music in the park. And I think somebody was going to try and get more trash cans down there for those events, but I don't know that happened. So, yeah, okay, good.
Someone called me today, and I called and talked to Ty. They got a couple more garbage cans down there this afternoon.
Good.
I also received a call from Ron and got a hold of Ty, and it was being taken care of before they went home, so. Usually, we like a request, like what they want, but I didn't see nothing this year, and it sort of slipped, but They had extra cans before the music in the park up at Skyview.
Just related to that, is there recycling options available too? Pop cans or plastic or glass?
Currently, we don't have any recycling bins like our trash cans.
At any of the parks?
None of the parks.
Is that a request? No.
Well, and that's something too. If when we go tour different parks, we could see like that would be a good option at that, you know, at different locations where that could be at, so.
Especially big events like concerts or amusement park, where people can bring in drinks.
But that's usually in cities that have a good recycling program, and Norfolk does not.
That's been a,
Yeah.
that's been a problem at other events that I've been involved in, even down in Lincoln, where could not get recycling. So, and people request it often. You probably have heard that too. But it is something to keep in front of us.
I'll look at what options are available.
What I've noticed, when they have that some people don't, they throw their regular trash in there where you get the McDonald's and not the plastic water bottles that it's designed for. So.
Yeah, it takes a lot of signage and education, and even then, yeah, it's not perfect.
So I would seek a motion to approve the report.
Look to entertain a motion to approve all the reports. And please vote. Yay. Any other items of discussion, topics you want to go over, Nate, before we?
I don't have anything. If the board has anything, this would be our public comment period when we get to
Okay.
that. And as the public gets used to us being here and being available to them, which is what we want to hear from them. We want to know what priorities that we have. As you can see here, we have a number of things happening throughout the city all the time. And we want to start to prioritize that and put our efforts where they're needed. Not necessarily where the squeaky wheel is all the time, but want to make sure we spread our efforts out throughout the community.
Is there during that public comment, is there an open spot on the live Zoom for questions? Or do they have to be in person?
For this meeting,
Yeah,
I believe it's in person only right
in person.
now.
Thanks.
We could possibly open it up, but it's in person right now. Yep. Okay.
Any other comments, discussion, guys?
Well, I really appreciated the stakeholder meeting. That was really informative and all the ideas. I'm excited for that report. One thing that came up quite a bit in our meeting was lighting and the need for improved lighting at, especially around Skyview in certain sections as people are walking and it gets darker. Taha as well. I don't know if any other parks were mentioned. You were at my meeting,
No,
but
that was mainly the
it did
two.
come up quite a few times. So just wondering if that's something that's also on your radar and.
Yep. So right now we have 3 lighting projects going. Johnson Park will be fully lit. We're gonna also light the Story Walk Trail at Warren Cook. That's in the budget for next year, and also lighting the skate park is in the budget for next year. So it's something we'll be addressing at each budget. But I think we're pretty well. We have several lighting projects going right now. So yeah, we'll continue to address other parks. Yep.
That's a good point to bring up. Anybody else? Obviously, we probably all attended those meetings. Any other significant conversations from the other times that you guys went, or items you want to discuss from those meetings, those stakeholder meetings? Okay. Anybody else?
The one thing that did come up was continue maintenance and upkeep.
Yep.
And where I'm at, which is basically Tazuka, the skate park, Aquaventure, ball fields, you're doing a wonderful job, and I just appreciate it. The bathrooms at the skate park are immaculate. So who's ever in charge of that, it's been great.
We'll pass it on.
Okay.
Very good.
I would just say, I know in our meeting we discussed a lot about bringing other economic impact into Norfolk as well with these improvements. That could be a possibility. So I'll be interested to see what comes forward out of that project from that group from Indianapolis, I believe. Is that where they're from?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. That's
okay.
Pros Consulting.
Pros
Yep.
Consulting, got it. All right. Well, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the first meeting of the Parks and Rec Board meeting.
Are we okay, before you do that, are we okay on the date and time? I do want to let you know, and Angie asked me to let you know that she is unable to attend Thursdays evenings on the third Thursday.
Third Thursdays.
So the reason why we're in this schedule is because we have to get this on the next council agenda. So we have limited time to do that. That would be getting all the minutes together and getting everything on the agenda at the next meeting. After the third council meeting's best because every so often we have an extra fifth week that that delays us we get extra time to get it on that agenda, which helps us out. It's not that we have to have it at this meeting at this time, but it is the best time for us. Tuesdays are bad because a lot of times the council meetings are moved to Tuesday because of a Monday holiday. So that's not going to work because we would have to be moving all the time. And then Wednesdays for church nights, people are doing various things. Thursday just seems to be the best. We could we could have it a little earlier, but evenings are good for public comment when people start realizing that they can come and talk to us.
Did Angie have any availability on Thursday?
Just any Thursday besides that, the one after the second council meeting.
Sorry if you already said this, but what prevents it after the first council meeting? The first week of the month?
The first week, there's really nothing preventing us from doing that. It would just put us on a tight timeline. We would have to turn it around the next day.
Because it has,
The best time is what we set. This is the time that we set was best for Parks and Rec. But it's a tough decision, but it'll be up to the board. We could move it to the first after the first meeting. But that's a tough one for us.
If we don't move it, then we would have to appoint somebody else. Is that what you're saying?
If she's unable to make it, yes.
Okay.
and her preference would be to be on.
This is keep it on this, yep, and we have that scheduled. We're not always on the third Thursday, so it's not every time. And in the bylaws, it asks you not to miss more than 3 consecutive meetings.
Any other discussion? I mean,
We don't
most
have to,
of us, how does that work? I mean, obviously, my schedule's pretty flexible, but
Can she make it earlier, is what you said?
I don't know, that I did
Oh.
not ask. She had another board meeting. Let me,
Because that would work better for you too, wouldn't it?
Yeah, if we happen to go, I mean, tonight's fine. As long as we get out around just before 7, I'm good. I could meet at 5.
I mean, personally, I have other meetings on the fourth Thursdays, so I mean, if we were able to move it forward, but again, like, that's not every time. I know sometimes it's the third Thursday, so.
her meeting's at 6:30, so I'm guessing if we went with 5, we could pull it off.
make
Does
them.
does that work for everybody?
I can make it.
Okay, I would seek a motion and change the time. On the Thursday following the second council meeting.
Following second.
Sorry to complicate it, but, yep.
Please vote.
Yay.
Yay.
Okay.
Vote carries. 5 p.m. Would that calendar invite be able to be updated?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Anything other items before we adjourn?
I have no other items unless you have anything.
I would look to seek a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
I'll second it.
Perfect. Please vote. Yay.
Yay.
All right. Meeting's adjourned.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.